I'm sitting for 12 hours behind this desk. And then I gotta go through LA traffic for, another hour and a half. And so that was just taking a toll on me. On my body, on the way I was recovering, on most importantly, my emotions. Who am I in this world?
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Prophetic Mentality Podcast. I am your host, Amr Mabrook. Today I'm joined by my co-host Munir and our very special guest, Abdul-Rahman Haikal from Peace and Power. Spiritual, holistic, mega fitness. Haha. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm honored and excited to be here, y'all.
Alhamdulillah. We are honored and excited to have you. And I will tell you, I'm going to just get straight to the point of why I decided to have Abdul-Rahman on the podcast. You are the only person that I know of who's a Muslim, a father of children, has a sedentary desk job, right? He's married. You're like, what, mid-30s maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And he has a six-pack. You do not have that, right? We all get married. We all gain weight. The more we work, the more we try. I feel like I worked out a lot and I just gained weight. So I don't know what is going on, right? And I'm not knowledgeable about fitness. I'm a trained power lifter, right? And maybe that's part of the problem, actually. So eat big, get big, So yeah, how do you do it?
Ya Allah. Man, so I can, I guess, start with my childhood.
Okay.
It's not something that I am I'll go back to my childhood and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Bismillah. So, Bismillah. When I was 4 years old, I remember being in a karate class. My dad, Allah yajzil khair, put me in a karate class when I was 4. And ever since then, I was involved in one sort of sport or another. That's all I remember as part of my childhood. And in middle school, I would walk on to the swimming team. I've never done any swimming outside of school, and I would just walk on and do it. Or do track and field.
Okay.
Or do cross country. I walked into cross country. I didn't know what that sport was about. He's like, let's go run. We're going to do 3 miles around the block. And you're going to come back here in about 2 hours. So then I did it and I went back and I'm like, okay, now what? He's like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm like, so cross country is just that. I didn't know that, but I wanted to do as many sports as possible. So that's one thing. For me, also sports was or staying active was a coping mechanism. I moved, or my family moved 16 times in the first 18 years of my life.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Wow. 16 times.
Wow.
Charlotte to Florida to Beirut to back to Florida here. And I wasn't even 16. 4 high schools. So we moved a lot. But then when you are into sports, you can just walk into any basketball court and just play a game of basketball. Everybody knows you now. I mean, I wasn't the best, but I was somebody that the team could depend on. So that was kind of, my coping mechanism. So there's this positive feedback loop, right? The more that I'm good at sports and athleticism, the better that, I can, fit in every time that I move.
Okay.
And so that just became a thing. It's just my identity. It's just, I can't, get up and not brush my teeth. I can't get up and not exercise. It's really that for me. It's so automatic. And that's, part of my coaching right now. We'll talk about that later. Is I want these habits to be as automatic for them as the other habits in their lives are. It just makes it easy. We don't want to depend on, willpower all the time. We know that that's like a muscle that depletes, that goes from high to low during the day. We want to be very careful about that. So anyway, let's fast forward to my mid-20s. Okay? Mid-20s. So now I have a master's degree in engineering. I'm on, few years now of experience working. I am married.
How's the six pack at that point?
It was still going. It was still going. But trust me, my wife did not make it as of, any importance as I thought I would, the honeymoon in Bali. I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, I'm like, like all these years and all this attention. Excuse me.
All the women you were fighting off, and now this one won't even
look at it. But I confront her about this. She just laughs it off. She's like,
like, I married you for what's inside.
For the man that you are.
You know what? Gain 50 pounds and see.
That's what I tell her. I'm like, but I don't want to test that out. Not at this age or stage or with the kids or everything. Yeah. But but a lot of us, I mean, I was pretty active in high school. I played soccer. I actually did run cross country, believe it or not, as a big person. And in college I was also active, but I feel like just being married and having that desk job, I find it very, very difficult to maintain that consistency, Yeah. So you said you also you do coaching, right? And I reached out to you to kind of talk about this earlier this year. And I felt like your methodology in coaching is a little bit different than what else I shopped around for. So can you kind of go into your methodology of like what you take a client through? Okay. So it's, again, part of the struggle that I felt. So you're saying desk job, you're saying married, you're saying kids. That was all before I was into like the health coaching, right? So this was, let's even backtrack a little bit to before that, to tell you about the challenge that I had and, how this all became about. And then, it'll make sense what my coaching program's about. Like I was saying, I was making the money for a 20-some-year-old. I was making, decent living. I was very happily married. I had a good career. I mean, I would fall into these, I don't want to call it mini depression, but these very low states, just this negative emotionality for a few days. This is not something I've ever felt in my life. Like my childhood was very active and generally a happy one. Like alhamdulillah, like loving parents, loving family, very involved, like good in school, like things are going well. And then all of a sudden I'm feeling this, like, what is going on in my life? Like, why? It's all good. And then so like 2 days would come that were good. And then 3-4 days would be like this terrible negative state. And I needed to figure that out because one pain is you actually going through what you're going through. And the other part is not knowing why. Like it just doesn't add up. So, I wanted to figure out the solution and I did it by myself and I was just like, look and research and read books and whatever. So I came across probably this podcast or something, but I heard it that said that your emotions come from motion. So emotion comes from motion. And I'm like, this all makes sense. That was my eureka moment because I'm like, I'm sitting for 12 hours behind this desk. And then I got to go through LA traffic for, another hour and a half. And then I was studying for my, professional, for the registration, the PE at the time. So I would do 3 more hours after dinner of sitting. And so that was just taking a toll on me, on my body, on the way, like I was recovering, on most importantly, my emotions. Like, who am I in this world?
You're just sitting at a desk 24/7.
I'm just sitting behind a desk.
We're not made to sit like, as we're sitting right now, but you get that point.
We're sitting for an hour and a half or whatever. We're not sitting for 12 hours or 16 hours when you add it all up. No. So emotionally, I wasn't, where I want to be. And it was because of the sitting, like so, emotions come from motion. I have 0 emotion. So my emotions are going to be 0 or maybe negative.
Gotcha.
So then that's when I stumbled into like the personal development, because that was like a personal development thing, speaker that said that, Tony Robbins to be, to name who it was. And so I got into that world just because, hey, like it helped me with one thing, but the second thing was out of curiosity.
Okay.
Because we are subscribed to the system that has the answers, but then everybody is looking to this other world of self-development and, personal development and self-help and all that. So I'm like, what are the questions that they're asking? What are, like, you would hear it and so I actually invested $1,000 and thousands of dollars into like seminars and the books and all that. Anyway, so that was going on one side. The other side is I needed to figure out my physiology because, again, emotion and motion and all that, like that's just helping me, how I am in the world, just like my emotions and all that. So I'm studying two things at the same time. I'm going through this stuff just out of curiosity. I'm studying this stuff because I needed it. I needed to know like the science behind it and like the movements and the muscles and all that.
Yeah.
So here, the physiology, I'm like, khalas, actually it was one of my friends at work. They're like, man, you're like studying this and you're telling me what you've learned. Why don't you become a coach? I'm like, I'm helping myself out first, but then you reach a level where like, okay, I know a lot of stuff. I want to share it with someone. So I would share it with like wife, family, all that. But then he's like, get coached. So I'm like, I'm getting coached. But then as I'm here on this side, getting into like studying, reading the books and the seminars and all that, I'm like, again, our Islam has these answers and it's had these answers. It's helped out so many people, but then yet people are asking, again, talking about the purpose, talking about why I feel that way, talking about, these questions. I'm like, our Islam has that. So then suddenly, again, this was the formation of Peace and Power, is that these two were married together because I could not do my coaching. And I tried doing coaching that was just the riyadh part of it, the exercise
part. Yeah. So you're telling people like, do this exercise for this many reps.
Yes. That was the first part of my coaching.
Gotcha.
I was doing that, but I felt that was so missing many of these important elements on this right-hand side here. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, especially when I'm coaching a Muslim, he's like, what do you think about intermittent fasting? And I'm like, what do you think about fasting Mondays and Thursdays? Like, how come we're not doing that? Are there 13, 14 days of the lunar month?
Yeah.
So I started incorporating as many of these health elements from the Sunnah and the Quran, and I merged it into Peace and Power.
Gotcha.
So it's this very holistic system. And you're asking me, Amr, about this coaching program. So we don't just cover the physiology, like the squats and the losing weight and all that.
Yeah.
Because if I give you the best exercise program, I need to also give you the right nutrition program to do that. I couldn't do that.
Of course.
Separately. Even though my wife is a nutritionist.
The nutrition's a big deal, right?
It's a huge deal.
When they say like 80% in the kitchen, 20% in the gym, I feel like that's...
Yeah. So there's a guy that does his ab exercise in the kitchen. He's like 80% in the kitchen. So anyway, but if, again, I give you the best nutrition plan and I give you the best exercise, but you are not sleeping right. You're sleeping at 2 a.m. one day, waking up at 6, and the next day you're trying to sleep at 11 because you got work the next day. You are not going to find the results from the best exercise plan and the best nutrition plan. So I needed to talk about sleep.
Yeah.
So I needed to go back and,
So you're educating yourself about
sleep. Most importantly for me, I'm the number one person that I need to help out because I can't help my family. I can't help my community. I can't help others if I'm not right. So it first starts, this is a cycle. Like I get into, this is like my life that I need the help with. And then I'm like, okay, this is amazing. It makes a huge difference in my life. I get to, work 12 hours. I still have the energy at the end of the day after the traffic to now play with my 2 kids. So, and people complain, when you keep people talking about that and complaining about it, you can't not help but to help them or to talk about it. So I put together this coaching program. And again, I just mentioned 3 weeks out of the 10 weeks. Every week is something that we talk about. And then we have, these action items and we go back and we iterate it and we tailor it to the person. And it's just for 10 weeks.
What's the first week look like?
Yeah, you don't think it's the full program, but I would love to hear the 10 points. Like, what is someone going through?
Can you go into that, or is that proprietary?
No, it's not proprietary. I can't be holding back this information, actually.
No, because at the end of the day, we want people to go sign up, and I'll tell you why, right? So, I follow your Instagram page, right? I see your social media, and I also follow people who have gone through your program. And it seems to me like the transformation they're going through, it's not just a physical transformation. Like, look at me. I lost 20, 30, 40 pounds. It's a complete change in the outlook on life, right? And I feel that's because the work doesn't start and end in the gym for your clients, right? They're going to the gym, they're working out, and they're getting a good workout in. But at the same time, afterwards, they're taking care of their nutrition. And before, they're making sure they have the right mentality, they're getting good sleep, they have the right attitude. And a byproduct of living or taking care about your body before and after the gym, not just in the gym, is that your whole life changes, right? Your outlook on your day. Like even if you physically can't go to the gym that day because you have some sort of scheduling issue, you will still be getting a quote unquote good workout in because you're taking care of your nutrition, you're getting good sleep. You're probably making sure you're getting a lot of water. Probably some sort of mindfulness thing going on, right? And we're going to go into when we go into your 10 steps, we'll probably talk a little bit about how you schedule things because you mentioned that on our previous call. So yeah, that was just kind of my outlook.
So real quick before you get into that, because I had this confusion before we started recording. I said, "Are you like a personal trainer?" So what's the difference? Someone might say like, "That just sounds." Do I call you up and you go to the gym with me and tell me how to work out so I do the best I can do overall, or what's the difference?
That's a great question because I do get a lot of calls, and when I talk to them about the coaching, they're like, "No, I was just looking for somebody at the gym because I have no idea what I'm doing." Or because I need to take it to the next level, or maybe they're into some sort of sport. They're into like football, and they need this like specific drills or exercise to like get them faster or to get them whatever. So I don't do that. I am, this bigger picture, this like whole picture, and so my job is to get you connected with the right type of personal trainer as part of, your physical exercise. Okay. So, Ahmed, for example, you're into powerlifting. So I can definitely
not anymore, but
so I can help you like with the big picture, right? To get you this complete system. And as you're saying, like, you may skip a workout and you still feel good because you got the nutrition. It's a system that has redundancy. So like something you miss something for 2-3 days or maybe hopefully not weeks, but you got these other things that are just so automatic. You don't know that you're doing it, but they're helping you in many different ways. So that is part of week 1. So we go through everything. It's like, where are you? And I can't just give a workout to somebody, I can't just, if you go to a restaurant, you don't just tell me, hey, give me what you have, and they give you rice and chicken. Like not everybody wants rice and chicken, right? So not everybody wants to be in the gym. Bro, I'll tell you this. So my wife and this is like me when I was starting to get, this personal training and I'm taking it seriously. And I build peace and power, and we'd go to the gym and like, I would have to beg her for like, let's go to the gym. Like, yalla, I don't want to go. What I was doing wrong is I was forcing somebody to eat rice and chicken. She does not like the weights. It's not for her. Out of it, like maybe it's not helping her. But nahna, our understanding, a lot of us, the gym is synonymous with health. I need to get healthy. I need to get at a gym membership. Like that's not the way. Like you can be very healthy and not go to a gym.
You could walk 10,000 steps a day, do some body weight exercises.
Hike, be it outdoors.
Exactly.
You can do a million things, but the fitness industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry,
and they all want you in the door.
Especially on New Year's. And it becomes a donation after that to them, because everybody goes for the first 3 weeks, and then everybody's just the automatic billing. Nobody's showing up again, and it's just like a charity, right? To them like that.
And you feel good, like, oh yeah, I have a gym membership.
I got it.
Because once you cancel it, it's it means you gave up.
So again, it's the first week is to help people first kind of connect to what they love doing.
So I love that about your program because it's not cookie cutter.
No way.
You're literally sitting with the person, and then you're going, step by step, point by point. What is exactly going on in your situation? What are you missing, and how do we tailor the rest of these sessions for you? Because we're all different.
Exactly.
We're all different.
We're so different.
You can't just plug someone into an Excel sheet, give them a macro you know, and macro nutrients, and then just say, do this and you'll be healthy. That's not how it works. Yeah. So that's kind of the first week where you kind of go through that person's situation. What does the second week look like?
So that's actually week 0. I call it session 0, just to getting to know them. But then the 1 is the exercise part. Is figuring out and tailoring their exercise.
Because you're an engineer, everything starts at 0 and goes.
Exactly. You got to. So then week 2 we talk about nutrition. So now we're good with the fitness talk, with the exercise. Now we talk about nutrition.
No.
So again, what did our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam eat? How did he eat? When did he eat? The whole fasting thing. We incorporate fasting into the program. Mondays and Thursdays, and then the white days of the lunar month. We do that. And some people have just said that these 13, 14, 15 days, just fasting them, there's something like semi-miraculous about them. Like their energy feels like it's reset. My dad being the first one to tell me that. So we don't miss it. Like I call him, he calls me. Sometimes he reminds me, it's like, are you fasting? I'm like, yeah, you know, because I have to now. It's just part of the month. Just like, you know, something is part of your day. This is part of the month. So then, you know, again, it starts with myself. It starts with my family. And then, you know, that's how like it gets into the coaching program. So then we talk about nutrition, and, you know, you get, for example, people into like the keto diet, and yes, everything works. You know, everything. That's why it's out there. You know, you got to say something. You're smiling. What's up?
I did the keto diet.
Yeah. I did too.
I did it in college, and I was very successful. I lost almost 50 pounds.
Okay.
And then I did it after I got married, and I gained 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like back to where I was in college. So, because I don't know, something about how just eating that much amount of protein, I probably wasn't getting a lot of exercise in.
Different stressors.
Different stresses in life, full-time job, married, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Also, I feel like, I don't know, physiologically, your body changes as you get older, of course. So my body was not responding well to it. So I'm completely off of that now.
Yeah. I mean, these things work, but then
they work for some people, sometimes.
Yeah.
Are these, so I'll ask, because people bring them up, do them all the time. Are these sustainable though? Like something like keto, whatever else?
This is the key word right here. Yes. We're looking for sustainability. I'm looking for something that I get to do for the next, 30, 40, whatever God blesses me in life to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep getting on and off things, not in my 40. I don't want to try something in my 50s and it work and not work.
Like if you're trying to get slim for my wedding day, maybe I'll do keto leading up to it. But other than that, you're just going to probably, most people I know bounce back after.
I'll tell you 90% of, but even more, like 98% of people after their wedding, they go on the honeymoon and khalas.
Guilty. That's okay.
Hey, so a lot of people.
Yeah, it's fine.
So
nutrition, what do you, when you talk about nutrition, what are your goals for your client? Or what are you aiming for?
Yeah.
What's the mentality? Because I'm sure, you probably give them like, not a full on meal plan, but guidelines. This is based on your style, right? I'm assuming here, I don't know, maybe you correct me.
Yeah. So guidelines, you got to simplify it. So nutrition is way overcomplicated. Every doctor, every whatever wants you to buy their book or subscribe to their program. And this is my diet and this will change your life, and the South Beach and the keto and the Atkins and whatever. Like everything kind of works, but then why isn't it working anymore? Right. So what is something that's going to work forever? Right. So then there are these principles that are embedded in the Sunnah that the Quran even tells us about, by the way. So what's the best food? Amr and Munir, pop quiz. What's the best food?
Is it dates?
Does the Quran, not that it says that, but something like, I was trying to figure that out. Okay. This is one of the things. Like I was telling my wife, okay, so you bachelor's degree in nutrition, 50, 60K, master's degree, 50K. What is the one, what is the best food? You tell me. I mean, if we pay 110,000 between, her dad paid for the bachelor's, answer me this one simple question. What's like the best type of diet? What's the best type of food? And she's like, well, it's not a type of food. It's, this concept of balance, and moderation. Okay. So it's a concept, right? So then I'm looking, okay, I need some more details. So then I would, what science is just saying, like research and all that. But for me, I want to live like my Prophet. So what was he doing? So he was a perfect example of this moderation. Okay. So we're overeating. That's number one. So we look at the quantity and we're eating a lot. So they tell us that we need this much of protein. Okay. If you're exercising and here's the formula and
1 gram per body weight.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Or there's a bunch of different forms and we don't need this much protein. And so when we get that inside of us, what the body does, it's like, okay, I'm only going to take half of that, by the way, that formula.
Oh, really?
There's another formula that says that only half of that is what the body actually takes in, digests, metabolizes. And then the other part, it stores. Okay. So it stores it as what?
ATP, energy.
It stores it as fat, right? So you get a bunch of protein, you eat a whole chicken after your workout. Your body can only take maybe, a drum and a thigh. And then what is it doing with the rest?
If you don't use it, it's going to store it.
It's going to store it. Yeah. That's what the body does. If it does not use it, it stores it.
Okay.
So this formula, for example, is something that is being debated these days. And people are still following the old one. And I need my shake. And if it doesn't have 40 plus grams, it's not a good deal for me. The bang for the buck. Yeah. So we're overeating. That's number one. And statistics show that since whatever, post-industrial revolution and the food processing industry and the additives and the preservatives and the whatever. And this is why the numbers of, overweight people and obesity has skyrocketed, and then the diseases and all that.
Yes.
Okay. So we got to take down the quantity.
The number of calories.
The number of calories, or just the plate size itself. Right? We don't need to be eating like a plate with a pile of rice and a lot of chicken and like this concept of this huge plate. We got to take that down a little bit. Oh, that's hard. But like I don't get. We got to train ourselves for it.
A trick that I found to work with that is actually start counting and measuring your calories. As soon as I started doing that and becoming conscious of the number of calories that was going into my body, I realized how much I was really eating. So I would actually measure the amount of rice, the amount of chicken. And I was like, whoa, that's like, 600 calories in one sitting, right? And I'm already at like 2K for the day. Like, no wonder I'm not losing weight, right? So that's just a tip for listeners. I don't know if you have people doing that.
I do that.
Oh yeah,
I do that.
I literally go to a restaurant. I have a scale. So
you do? You're like that? Wow.
Because I'm tracking it. So if they don't have anything on their menu and it's like chicken and whatever, I'll measure it and then
You would literally take a scale to the restaurant and.
Yeah, why not?
Wow. No, good for you.
That's good. I mean, you want to know? Here's a psychological trick. They've done studies on this. Maybe you know these ones. So one example is they had people at a restaurant eating soup, but they didn't tell one group that their bowl actually had like a feeder from below the table, so it's always refilling it. So they're eating, and they have another group that theirs is normal bowl. So, and they found that after everything's said and done, the group that kept eating and eating and eating had no idea. They ate like however many times more, right? And they felt like stuffed. But the group that had a full bowl and just ate, they both, when they took their surveys, how full are you? They said we're the same amount. Like I'm full. Like
SubhanAllah.
It's a psychological. That's what they also tell you. If you use a small plate, your body will be full just as much as if you use a big plate. Like it's all psychological. Most of this is.
That's actually a psychological 100%. Trick buffets use. They give you smaller plates.
The smaller plates.
Because you fill it up faster and then you psychologically feel, I had a full plate of food and it's like, 25% smaller than your regular plate.
It's amazing what psychology. It was speaking of psychology.
So I need to go home, throw out all my regular size plates and then get some mini little plates, kahk plates that they could put on Eid, and that's all I can.
Wallahi, that's a good trick. I mean, that's something that definitely helps. And that is something that, most importantly, what's that magic word that you said? Sustainability. I can do that for 20 years. I can have a smaller plate. I can ration my food. I don't need to be eating this much.
And we do it every year during Ramadan.
Yeah.
We do it every year, right? You get, there are those days where you fast and then you maybe don't eat as much for iftar, and then you wake up and have a little bit of suhoor. and you're running on maybe 1,500, 2,000 calories over 48 hours, and you're doing great.
You're doing amazing.
You're doing amazing. Your body is like this.
You guys have to remember, like the body was made. I mean, alhamdulillah, like Allah gave us bodies that can run on very little, or else most of the world's population would be dying off. Especially 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Imagine when you hear hadith like, "Oh, we had a date for the day," and you're like, "They survived," and you realize like, I guess that's it. Like Allah made the body very efficient. So when you're putting 20 times that in your body, alhamdulillah, Allah also made it very efficient at getting rid of a lot of the stuff, or we all popping, like bursting into steams. Yeah, it's very incredible.
It's wallahi, it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. But once we work, with our body, so like we're giving it this much food, that's a lot of work for the body. It's like your boss, just pile of paper. You got to do this by like whatever. And
it's stressful. It's
very stressful for the body, especially before we sleep. It's because now everything is just with the whole nutrition. And again, we can talk about nutrition for 2 hours. We talk about it, and it's so like intensive. Like you ask my wife after my training session, I'm out of breath. Like I feel lightheaded because of so much information that's just. We talk about it, and I ask them, and they're like, okay, how come we can't do this that way? Oh, because I get to work at 8 o'clock and then I got to do this and I got to do that. It's like, well, let's try, doing it before you leave, and maybe you can kill some traffic. So anyway, it's tailored to this person. We're just trying to figure out the best thing. And I want to make sure that before we end the session that we're good. It's like, khalas, we're good on nutrition. Yeah. Okay. Because next week we're going to move on something that's also deep, which is sleep. So anyway, with nutrition.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Oh man. So this is... Yeah,
I'm having trouble with that one right now.
Do we want to go to week 3? Are we like in sleep now, or do you want anything about food? Oh, I want to tell you guys some psychology. We were talking about psychology.
Psychology, yeah.
Okay, why is it after you're full? So if you had that big plate of soup or that big plate at the buffet, why is it that the dessert comes and all of a sudden we have space for it? Why? Like I can't. I'm stuffed. Cheesecake. I got some space. 10 seconds ago, you were gonna like pop.
Yeah.
It's also psychological.
Because I paid for it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's psychological. No, it's something that's new. So your brain is like, I'm not eating, salty anymore. This is something that's sweet, and it's totally different for me. And it's, because sugar makes there's a different reaction in the brain and all that. So that's why, because it's a new and novel thing. So all of a sudden you have this like second gut all of a sudden for dessert. And that's why there's like always room for dessert. So it's also, it's a psychological thing. That's why we have to talk about psychology in the holistic fitness realm, or else, you're just, doing things that are mechanic, and it's mostly psychological.
No.
Okay.
So wait, real quick, going back, the best food in the Quran, was it like a trick question?
We didn't answer that.
Or was it like, kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu, eat and drink, but don't be excessive? I don't know if it was like...
Yeah. So that's one of them. I mean, this is definitely one of the guiding principles. But as far as the best food, when I was asking, first, like my wife, like, what's the best food? And she said balanced moderation. I was trying to find the answer. I found it in Surah Al-Ra'd.
Okay.
In Surah Al-Ra'd.
Thunder, or what's this one?
So let me try to remember the ayah, but it says something about وَفَضَّلْنَا بَعْضُهُمْ or بَعْضَهَا عَلَى بَعْضٍ وَفَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَهَا عَلى بَعْضٍ فِي الْأُكُلِ.
Okay, favorite some over others.
So this is it's talking about the nakhil and the anab and like all that, like it's describing fruits.
Grapes,
yeah. وفي الأرض قطع متجاورات وجنات من أعناب ونخل وزرع ورمان. It's that ayah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I don't want to. So it's Surah Al-Ra'd. I may not get it 100% right now.
That's fine. There's no scholar.
But this وفضلنا بعضها على ونفضل بعضها على بعض في الأكل. Just please try like check it.
We'll put it here.
Yeah.
Okay,
just put it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
بعضها. So that means that there is not one type of food that's better than the other one. نفضل بعضها على بعض. يعني this is better than some in this aspect, and this is better than some in this aspect, and this is better. So there is not something that you can say this is the food or this is the diet. Why? Because وفضلنا بعضها على بعض. Like everything has something that the other one has something that's better. So it has to be this balance. We have to eat. That's why, again, we're talking about the keto. Like you know,
You're missing out on fruits.
You're missing out on the fruits, and there's a lot of micronutrients and, you know, like that you need. So this is why we need that. And that part is like, okay, khalas, there's nothing, everything that Allah has created has benefits for us, and some other thing has better benefits. So I need to eat a balanced diet.
I agree.
And so balance is definitely a key thing.
And
then
food,
the
quality.
Yeah. It supports each other. So we talked about quantity. The last thing before we move, it's the quality.
Yeah.
It's the quality of the food. So to have the best type of food, and again, they will balance each other, by the way. Because when I tell people about eating, you know, grass-fed, and well, this is like triple the price.
You feel more full, wallahi. When we get the cheap meat, there's certain halal markets here. I'm not going to name them, but you go buy the ground beef from there. It's like $3.99 a pound. Wallahi, I have a meal. I'm not full. I go to the Armenian guy who's selling. He's got like it's fresh cut cow, right? And he's grinding the beef like fresh, right? And it's like $8, right? It's halal, and he has a halal section, right? He's got like halal wagyu from Australia, right? Yeah. So you get that high quality meat. I have maybe like just a little bit, and the taste, the feel, the fullness, the emotions. Wallahi, it's night and day. It really is.
Ajad.
Yeah.
That cow has lived a better life.
Yeah.
It's, you know, if it was out in the pasture, it was getting sun. It was eating what it needs to eat instead of, you know, man forcing it to eat what it. I mean, a cow has 7 chambers. It's meant to, you know, ferment the grass and not eat the grains that they feed it, and the grains are GMO to begin with, so they're already messed with. It's like you're giving a messed up food to a cow, and you're messing up with its diet, and then you're messing up our diet because of that and our energy, and it's going to come back to us, nahna. And they're in barns, and they're like, so anyway. So when something is pasture raised, it's got. By the way, it's you're saying that, and that's, you know, perfectly accurate, because they have so it's more beneficial to you, whether it's got like the omegas that it needs to have, or whether it has less of the saturated fat, or the better, it's just better for you. This is what we are meant to eat. This is why you feel satiated after you eat it. And there's this baraka element in it, because this is how the cow is supposed to eat. This is like, you know. So once we do, and so people talk about, oh, it's expensive. It's $8 versus the $4, and sometimes it's $12 or whatever. Yeah. Well, it's like, if you are reducing the quantity, now the quality will with the balance out the quality, the price is just going to be the same price as before.
I agree.
It's problem solved.
Wallahi. And if you're skeptical, if you're one of those skeptical listeners, right? Try this. Don't buy the $2.99 dozen eggs. Go get the free $6, the $6-7 free. Not a cage free range. There's a difference. Free range means they're actually out. The chickens are literally
pasture raised. They're like out and doing
the ones thing. We use, the brand, this is not promoted, but Vital Farms, they literally if you buy the eggs, they have a barcode and you scan it, and they have a live webcam feed of the chickens in the farm, and they're literally just frolicking. They just drop eggs, and the farmer goes and picks them up, puts them in a box. You eat 3 of those eggs versus 3 of, like, you know, the ones where the chicken is all cooped up. It's different. You
can't finish the third one if you're eating the Vital Farms or whatever one, or the one with the really yellow yolk. You can't, like, all of a sudden you're eating.
Even the shell is harder to break.
The shell, it's all different. It's all different.
It's so different.
So invest in you, like pay a little bit more to get the better food, so the quality is better, and then the quantity will automatically reduce.
In medicine, they call it preventative. It's preventive medicine. The point is, you pay. I'm paying an extra $2, $3 now, but that saves me $100 medical bill tomorrow, and a $2,000 bill, and $1,000, in 2 years.
Absolutely right, Munir. Absolutely right.
If you drive a Beamer, you're not going to put crap gas in it. And our body's better than a Beamer. So
yeah. There you go.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. So nutrition, sleep, number 3.
Let's talk about sleep. Yeah,
I got big problems, Habibi. Wallahi. I can't. I'm having trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up. It's every time it's bedtime. I'm like, bro, it's another battle for me. What's going on? What can I do, Coach?
So I'm saying this as I got less than optimum sleep yesterday.
Oh, tell me about it. This is post-Fajr recording.
With the 2 kids. It is a post-Fajr recording. You know, and the kids, it's a different night every night. You can't, you know, have 2-3 nights of just like quiet. Somebody has to wake up and, you know, do something, say something. Yeah. So I'll tell you the key thing to sleep, so why is sleep important, first of all? Because it's where all the restoration happens. It's all where like the cells rebuild themselves, and this is where you recharge, and the brain, you know, gets that break that it needs, and it cleans up. It's like a dishwasher effect at the night that, you know, you leave the dishwasher running. So that's like your brain is like removing the debris and all that. And so you can't live without sleep. They still don't know why like sleep happens. It's just this miraculous thing. It's a blessing in our lives. So it's where, you know, magic happens. What we need, the most important thing that a lot of us don't do is set a bedtime. Because if you are, okay, again, like the whole boss example, I'm getting ready to go to work, to go home after a long day worth of work, right? And so my boss comes and hands me, like nobody hands papers now. I don't know why, like I keep doing this with like a stack of paper and drops it on my desk. Nobody's ever done that for me. Cartoons.
It could be like, you know, they sent you an
email. The 4:58 p.m. email.
Oh man. Yeah.
Comes by your desk to like, hey, you know, we got to talk about X. And you're like, dude, what are you talking about?
I know. Or you get the call or you get the email. Hey, do this. I got a, you know, meeting first thing tomorrow morning. Can you, you know, help me out with this? So imagine the feeling. It's like, oh my, are you kidding me? Like, you know,
I'm trying to dip.
Yeah. I need to leave. I must sit through this traffic. I need to have dinner. I need to.
Yeah.
So imagine that feeling every day. You just don't know when you're going to go back home. Like one time it's like, oh, today, because yesterday I worked until 6:30. Today I'm going to leave at 3:30 to make up for this hour and a half. 3:28 comes and again, the stack of. So like, imagine that every day. And so the body wants to prepare itself for sleep, right? It starts releasing the melatonin at night to shway get you, you know, in that sleepy state so you can go and doze off and whatever. But no, we want to watch TV, or we want to be on our phone, or we need to go out and have a late night meal with our friends on a Saturday. And then Sunday, you're trying to sleep, you know, on time because you got work on Monday morning, and you're sitting there and you're rolling in bed and you can't go to bed, and because you've messed up for the last 2-3 days, and now you can't, like your body's like, well, yesterday I slept at that time and I woke up a little bit later. So having a time where khalas, like 5 o'clock, I know I'm going home, you know, puts everything at ease.
Yeah.
And so when the body knows that it's going to sleep, you know, 10 o'clock or whatever. And, you know, as far as the timing, you mentioned something about timing. I like to time myself, my life around prayer times.
No.
So my reference is not masalan 9 or 11 or, you know, 12 midnight. You know, some people are like, okay, I sleep midnight to 6. I try my best, and I found that very effective for me and the people that I've coached is around prayer times. So for example, I'll pray Isha right now, and khalas, that's my trigger to go to bed after that.
What if Isha's early then? Like,
what if Isha's early?
Like, you know,
exactly.
39.
Exactly. So even sometimes it's at 6 o'clock, Isha, in the winter. It gets to be that.
Yeah.
But I have a reference now where it's like, okay, it's maybe 2.5 hours after Isha that I know that it's the bedtime is going to follow. Where it's like just some sort of trigger that now, okay, I prayed Isha. That means I don't get to watch TV after that. And I heard this hadith a few years ago or something where it's actually makruh for any type of laghu after Isha prayer.
Like vain speech, like just talking about whatever.
So the TV is talking about whatever. You know, you can read a book because the book is talking about something that's, you know, hopefully beneficial, or you can be, you know, engage in a conversation with your wife because that's, you know, building that, intimacy. You know, the connection and intimacy, and that, you know, it's feeding that relationship, whatever that may be. So Anna, for me, that trigger after Isha, absolutely no TV. For the kids, it's actually after Maghrib.
What about phone?
For the kids, I try not to do the phone either. Khalas, like that time is just for me to get ready for bed, for me and my wife after we put the kids to sleep, to just sit. Sometimes we're not sitting, we're cleaning after them. But or me catching up on whatever I need to do, but I try not to be behind a screen. I try not to do emails after that. I try not to do anything because, you know, our eyes have photoreceptors, and when they see light, like it's signaling to the brain that there's still sunlight. So hold off on releasing the melatonin, which is going to help us fall sleepy. So we're going to say, hold off. It's still, it's like, what the heck? You've been holding me off for like the last 3, 4, 6 hours. Khalas. And then you go and you crash. And then you're not getting that restorative sleep that you need because like you've messed with your system. So try as best as you could. And again, it's very, like in the summer versus the winter. But for me, because this is something that I'm going to do every day in my life, 5 times a day. Like I try to schedule, and we didn't talk about again, we can talk about all these for 2 hours each.
Well, this is your weekly lesson, I could say, with the client is like around 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So right now we're blasting through them.
We're blasting through 10 in 90 minutes.
In 90 minutes, when each one of these, it's a 90-minute discussion plus a Q&A plus homework. So there's a lot.
Plus their challenges that we need to work together.
Plus, there's a whole lot of depth here. So
yeah.
It's very surface level, which we understand, but yeah.
But that sleep, again, like the whole thing with the phone, and we may not be able to get through the 10. Hopefully we can fly over them, but setting that sleep, and I know it's hard. I just came back from Lebanon. That was the hardest thing that I had to endure because they eat later over there. Their dinner is like 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm like, are you like 8 or 9 is your dinner? Like, what time do you sleep? What time do you go to work? What time? Like everything
sleep.
was, like, how do you wake up for Fajr if you ate this much at 10 o'clock at night? And it's like, it was a very, very hard time for me because you have now the social pressure,
of course,
of all that. So like after I got back, I'm like, I was just at peace. I'm like, I can now like go back to eating, with my family whenever I need to eat instead of, Khalo inviting me or like my sister inviting me. So it's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of social pressure there. But nihna, at least what we can do is on weekdays, we have control over that. We have control over what we eat, when we sleep, when we wake up. And khalas, so we set that for ourselves and we know that that's supporting our system. Okay. And that's why it's hard. Like the Monday blues, like for years I was struggling with the Monday blues. When you go to work on Monday morning, it's like, oh my God. You're just like, it takes you 4 or 5 hours to fire up. Why? And like the headache, I would call it the Monday migraine. For years, the Monday migraine. That. So what it came out to be is that, okay, and I'm trying to sleep at 10 so I can wake up at 4 to go to work. But then the weekend comes and I'm sleeping at 12:30 and I'm waking up after Fajr, before praying and then sleeping after Fajr. Or sometimes you miss it because it's like you just can't. You're like
your body.
You just threw your body out of whack by staying up the extra 3-4 hours, and so you messed up on the weekend big time. And then you try to wake up, back at 4 a.m. or you try to sleep Sunday night at 10. It's like, why am I not falling asleep? Well, because it's been 1 o'clock that you're putting your, you hit the sack and you're trying to, wake up now at 4 and it's just boom, this headache. It's Monday migraine. So that's the cause of it. So on the weekends, I still sleep the same time as the weekdays. I still wake up at the same time as the weekdays. Khalas, it's just something. It took actually one of the challenges is not between me and me, but between me and the wife, right? Between me and, because that's like our time kind of. So she has to sacrifice a little bit of that. And I couldn't have done it without her help but now she was like a night person and all that. And like, that's when, and like but after kids, it's like your body resets to whatever is natural, which is to go back to sleep. So for that 2 year, post marriage, like you get married, you're staying up and watching, like the movies and the whatever. And that's was like the struggle phase and like my health and that. This is part of that reason, because we're staying up late, because we're eating late. And, are you going to watch a movie and just watch a movie? Or are you going to have like a bag of something to be like munching on as you're watching the movie or drinking something next to it? Yeah. So all that's late. So once we cut that off, that was like a huge thing. And, it was hard. So then we do it like every other night and then every other weekend and then every other whatever. So it kind of just, phased or spaced away. And then the kids came and it's like, khalas, like, Aisha, sometimes we wait for Aisha. It's like, can we sleep before Aisha and just try to wake up with the kids? So khalas, we went back to what's natural.
So after the kids, she wants to sleep early now.
Oh, yeah, she sleeps before me now. Yeah, Allah yajzallah khair.
Wow.
I love you, Rewa. Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, we got to put the kids to sleep and now this nighttime is just for us.
A lot of couple do that. And a lot of couple that I coach, it's like, well, when are we going to do the us time?
Yeah.
It's like,
wake up early.
Try to wake up early. Try to stay up after. Well, we can't, and this and that. Well, because you're staying up late. Try it. Like you can't just one time or one weekend try it and say, hey, it did not work for me. You got to try it multiple times. Like
well, people say that they're not morning people. Like, oh, I can't do mornings. I just can't.
Did they say that when they were 7 years old and going to first grade? Did they tell mom, hey, I'm a night person, I can't wake up in the morning?
I was talking to my wife about this. Like, dude, we're going through high school. You woke up at 6 or 5:30 a.m. every day, and that was normal, and you felt fully rested.
You felt fully rested.
Because you're working out, you're running all the time, you're eating less. It's probably so many other factors. But
how come when we get to college, we're all of a sudden, I'm not a morning person. The last 18 years of your life, you were a morning person. So it's a trained thing. So once we train, but then we need to have patience with that because it's not going to work. Again, I was saying like the first weekend.
Sustainability.
It's going to take multiple tries to be able to sustain that, to train. Because ever since college, you've been staying up and, living this lifestyle. So you're telling me, you want to change something that took you 8 years to develop in a weekend? Give it some try. And, they say with kids, like, when you're trying to like feed them something, like with Zakaria, he's 9 months old. So you give them something, you give them broccoli and they don't like it. You don't say Zakaria doesn't like broccoli. Khalas, he's done.
Feed him, put it in his mouth again.
Yeah. Experts say how many times Munir that you got to try it with the kids?
I'm not sure actually. We just keep doing it.
You keep doing it until like eventually whatever.
I heard it takes like 50 repetitions to make a habit. Is that what it is?
It could be, but they say with the kids with this at least 10 times. They said at least 10 times to try, keep trying. But that's like the at least part.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is 50, sometimes it's 100. So why are we, the whole with the sleep thing or the eating thing? I can't eat this little, or I can't sleep at this much, or I'm not a morning person. Why don't we give it a try? Is that just a story that we keep telling ourselves and then we're manifesting into this reality that we're living? Or do we want to step out of that, comfort zone that we're living and just go back and try, the natural thing that our body loves to be doing? And that's, where the energy comes. That's where like now less of that brain fatigue, like that mental fog. And now you have this, again, sustainable energy. This is what we're after. This is what, and so give it a shot and see how that works for you. Just setting that time. There's many other things, but this is like the foundational thing, the wake up and the sleep time.
So schedule the sleeping and the waking up, and we're Muslims, so schedule it around Fajr.
So
do you stay up after Fajr? Like, that's just your go-to? Okay.
Yeah.
That's your workout. That's your workout hour, right?
That's my workout hour. So Shuruq is my khalas, like you stay, and again, you want to incorporate the sunnah into this, and there's a hadith that says that if you pray in jama'ah and then you stay up in dhikr until the shuruq, the sun comes up, it's like you have you get the ajr of a hajj and umrah tammatain. So complete full on umrah and hajj, you get the ajr, and you get to do that every day if you wake up at fajr and you stay up. So this ajr, this is the greater than sign. Staying up, the night before watching whatever movie, a 7-star rated or 6.8 IMDb movie, or you get the ajr of, full on hajj and umrah. Like which is greater? And again, it's the person has to decide, who get to make this choice. And so try to stay up as best as possible. And then you get your day started.
And that'll help you sleep earlier if you have that issue.
Yeah. But the secret here is you gotta nap. So you can't go all the way from Fajr, and some people wake up even before Fajr to get, a little bit of Qiyam going on.
So when do you nap?
So from 30,
when do you nap?
Well, it depends on work. Like sometimes if I can squeeze in something during like the morning break, like 9-ish, because if you wake up 4 or like sometimes 3:30, and you guys, sometimes I have work to finish. So if I'm sleeping right after the kids and I don't get to do work, then it means that I have to do it before they wake up. So if, you're awake at 3:30, 4:30, by 9 o'clock, you're already like feeling it. So like 20 minutes does it. I'm not talking about 2 hours. That's like beauty nap right there. I'm talking about a power nap. Sometimes depending on the day, like the stress of the day, whatever, I find myself taking 2. So the 9 o'clock, and then I'll do 1 like after the Dhuhr prayer, just to break like that sleepiness, and then khalas, like it's 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and I've balanced my khalas, this energy is good. And sometimes if I don't get to take a nap, I take like just a quick shower, a cold shower. And that kind of like, instead of the 20 minutes, it's a 5-minute thing, but it's got like similar effects because it just wakes up the cold water wakes up the body.
How cold are we talking here?
I mean, whatever you're like here in Diamond Bar, for example.
Like, are you just literally turning on the cold faucet and just jumping in? Or are you, it's warm, but with a little cold? What is it?
So shway. I mean, the trick is to start on the warm side and then to kind of press the dial a little bit until it gets cold. But if you do this for years, khalas, you just do it and you step on it. You step under it. And it's like, it's a non-negotiable thing. Oof. It's like khalas. Like I did that this morning. I'm like, oh my God. Boof. You just go down to all the way at the cold. So no more of that. But what I noticed in Diamond Bar is that the water is not as cold as it is in Anaheim. So I'm still to figure that out. Like when I go and I'm at my parents' house, I'm like, y'all get like really nice cold water. Here in Diamond Bar, it's not. So maybe because something like reservoir that's hot or something. That's interesting. But anyway, it's got in 5 minutes, you get to do what you do in 20 minutes. And that 20 minute is one of the best investments that you can make in your day because it renews your energy. So, even before, when we're going like to work, so after that crazy traffic, confession time, Riwa. So sometimes I don't get home at 5:40. Like I walk in at 6 o'clock, right? But I get there at 5:40 and I take a short nap in the car.
Whoa!
Just to like renew.
Exposed.
Yeah. But it's for y'all. It's for you and the kids.
Then you can commit more.
Because you get a better me instead of the one that just sat through 12 hours of work and 2 hours of LA traffic. You get the better version of me. So that nap, just again, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 max. I'm talking about max for that. And then I go and I take a cold shower and I get changed. Wallahi, this next 4 hours that I'm with my family, it's like a little brand new day. So they don't get the tired version of me. They get like, they're recharged a little bit. They're recharged 30%, 40%, and not the depleted Baba, Abudi, whatever they call me.
Yeah, I agree with the cold shower thing. It shocks you awake. Because when I've done it a few times where I just kind of like and you're like, it's cold. But then you don't need no pre-workout. You don't need coffee, nothing. Your body literally shocks you awake. It's amazing.
100%.
So for the sake of time, I'd love to, even if we can't hit them all, or I mean, in depth, I would rather hear them at least too. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know, do you do them in order of importance, or is it kind of just what you found has worked as a method?
You know what? That's a really good question.
Because we have about 15 minutes before we got to wrap.
Okay.
So
that's a really good question. Maybe it is important. I mean, they're all important. It's like, which column is the most important if you're building a house,
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, maybe you have, a shear wall that's doing a lot more work than I don't know. I think they're all important, but yeah, it's
fair enough. So
you get these 3 though, and the 7 other ones become a lot. This is like the trio that you need to focus on. And then the other one is just, again, going up, inshallah, the levels of energy and health.
So after you focus on sleep, what's next week's discussion?
Yeah, stress management.
Stress management.
Bro, you're just killing it right now.
Stress management.
Wait, before Amr takes the next 15 minutes on stress management, let's just make the list. Let's just make the list, then we go back. Stress management. After stress management.
So after stress management, now we talk about brain health. And we get into now the psychology. So like half of it is brain, because brain is like one of the most important things, right? Like for us, and we can't, live without the brain. So we got to actually care about it. Like, how do we care about our brain?
Okay.
What does it like? What does it not like? And then that kind of taps back into the sleep, taps back into nutrition, taps back into exercise. So that's why usually brain health is half a session.
Okay. Makes sense.
So
if you're doing other ones, then this kind of falls.
Yeah. It's just really important to mention, and we, carve out some time for it. And so we talk about brain health, but then that we segue into the psychology now.
Okay.
So we talk about psychology, and then so that's that session, and then the full on the next session, and then we get into mindset. So now you're talking like 2.5 sessions of just psychology and mindset.
So psychology is a whole day or a week by itself too?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely. So for psychology, what do we do? For example, so one of the people that I helped last year, he was struggling with like pull-ups, right? So then we do this exercise. It's more psychological. And so it's got like visualization in it, and like, okay, now, make a dua. Like, what are you doing when you're making a dua? And it's like, okay, and I'm just making it. It's like, okay, try seeing it now. Try seeing yourself. And we do a small example of this pull-up. And I'm like, so visualize yourself after this dua that you're getting to do pull-ups. And so, okay, get deeper into it now. It's like, how are you feeling? Like, how's your body now feeling? How are your biceps? How's your back? How's your, how do you feel afterward in general? Okay, I've never done a pull-up. I feel really good. Okay, so now after we go through that, like that 15 minutes, and I usually take them to like a park. I'm like, oh, subhanallah, there's a pull-up bar over here. Let's see, let's try it. So then we go and we jump on the pull-up bar, and they're doing 2 pull-ups, and they've never done a single pull-up in their life. Wow. For example, right? So then they're doing that, and they're like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, so this is a small example. I mean, the key here is not to get you to do a pull-up, but the key to get you to now go back to, hey, it's all up here. So whatever you limit yourself and whatever, I don't like this and I can't do that and whatever, you've never for the last 30 years done one. You just did one. But of course, what they don't know is that because they've been now for 5 weeks exercising since week 1, they're also stronger. And, with now the right psychology, and then they've had the physicality part of it. So now it's both coming home for them, and they're like, wow. So now if I get to do 2 pull-ups, what other thing can I do?
Awesome. So mindset, what's after? We have 3 more left, I think.
We got 3 more. So after that, so this one is I'm giving away, actually.
We don't have to. We can just make them sign up. We don't have to do it. It's your proprietary.
No, it's just the people that they have it coming up right now. They're gonna know anyway. Let's just go.
Oh, you don't know this podcast? We don't release for another
it won't be released tomorrow. Don't worry.
Okay. Let's just do it. So then we go, and I take them to. So this one we do at night. Everything's after Fajr that I do because
all that was pre-Fajr. Okay.
All that is pre-Fajr, and we meet after Fajr and we do it.
How do you think I had to wake up so early?
So, already
included, yeah.
Already, yeah. By the way, wallahi, one of the people I just caught up with on Friday, 2 days ago, after almost a year of us completing the program together. I'm like, hey, like what's now that's been a year, like what's the best thing that now like khalas you can't live without? He's like, the fact that I get to pray Fajr with energy every day. Like I don't miss it as often as I used to, or like khalas, it's a consistent thing for me. No. And I stay up after that. I'm like, wow. So it's not the fact that you lost 40 pounds or the fact that you get to pray Fajr every day. And like so again, that's a key takeaway. So we're talking about, so the night thing, the whole Fajr in the morning. So the Fajr, we got to the night. So this is the only one I do at night, where we go to a mountain. We do a night hike, and I don't say a word. Neither do they. So they've, as part of their package, they get a session where it's quiet, and we just sit for 1 full hour.
In silence?
In silence, and nobody says anything.
That is uncomfortable.
That is consistently, I'm told that it's one of the hardest things they've ever had to do, especially for an extrovert. Introvert could be all right.
I can sit there.
I'm uncomfortable in silence sometimes.
For an hour, we have to get uncomfortable though.
Oh, I'm talking about minutes. I'm being straight up. I mean, I'm a podcast host. I gotta talk about something.
For a flower.
So do you tell them beforehand that they're about to?
No.
They just
smart.
show up for
That's
a
smart.
hike and
They
you're
don't.
just like
we're doing a night hike.
You're just deadpan silent.
And we're quiet. We sit. I mean, we sit. It's not all the hike. It's like
Coach
10 minutes
hates
of
me.
actually like, yeah. We just sit and
Wow.
and it's like, what was that about? It's like, no, you tell me what you feel first. And but this is, I want to hear it from them because, you know, when I get 10 people and 20 people saying the same thing, it confirms what I have felt when I try doing these things myself.
Yeah.
By the way, this is one of the most overlooked spiritual practices, is to be in silence, to be in solitude. It's just, you know, go deep and just, you know, be with yourself and just be with your creator and just
Be with your thoughts. Yeah.
B-E, period. Yeah. Right? And so we do that. And what they tell me is that they feel so energized after that. Amazing. Like quiet for 60 minutes. It's 9 o'clock at night. I feel like I'm fully awake now. Like I'm fully rested, that I'm fully.
SubhanAllah.
It's very rejuvenating. Again, so again, that practice is not to get you to sit through an hour every single day. I definitely cannot afford an hour of my day every day to do this. But 10 minutes? You know, so once you've done an hour, you can do 10 minutes. One, how about before Maghrib? How about before, you know, the sunrise? How about وَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ قَبْلَ طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ وَقَبْلَ الْغُرُوبِ? In silence. Sabbih in silence for like 10 minutes, 7 minutes. But get into this habit of just silence, quiet, no distraction, no phone, step away from the kids and, you know, just do it.
Wow.
Last two.
Was 2 more? I thought that was the big one.
Last two. That was a big one. But then they...
And then maybe you can give us
What is it
the practical, the takeaway.
Okay.
The takeaway is sign up today.
No. He had like an action plan for anyone.
I have an action plan. Yeah.
So let's write these two, and then you can give us the action plan.
Well, I'm thinking about 9. What was 9? I can't remember what 9 was. But 10 is just the culmination of all that. Oh, 9 may be... Oh, yeah. That's when it's like perfectly tailored for them. Because everybody... So Ahmed al-Shughairi, he's, you know... It's, what's the name of the show? Yallah, I've watched like every series. It's just I'm blanking on it now. Khawatir. You check him out. So he's a really big Muslim influencer. He's
Overseas?
Saudi. Yeah, he's actually one of the brothers here. He's his nephew. So one of the brothers here, he calls him Khalun. So anyway, this guy's a huge influencer. Just wrote an amazing book. He calls it kalakiya. So everybody has this like complication, this mini complication inside of them. Like for example, me, I may have been like very picky with my food. So then it's me overcoming this kalku'a. So then I can just not live with limits, right? And just like go beyond that and just...
that's tangled. That means tangled. Right?
Tangled, yeah, exactly.
That word means tangled.
So untangle that. So it could be very different for anybody. Somebody can be, you know, have a phobia of something, or maybe like, the whole thing with the food, or maybe, one guy, did not like to go into the ocean. He had a thing. It's like, I saw a shark movie. They eat a guy when I was a little kid, and I don't get to, I never go in the water.
So he saw Jaws.
So after 9 weeks, I'm like, hey, so we're going to, do the sunrise thing. And then put a big screen and watch Jaws. We go to, Huntington or whatever, and we're like, we're going to have our session there. I'm carrying my bag, and they don't know what's in the bag. And so we have our session. And after we finish the session, I get my bag, and I'm like, 2 bathing shorts, and here's a towel. We're going to wrap it. You're going to do your thing. It's like, Majnoon, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got your shorts. I think that's your right size. Here's a towel, and we're going to go. But it's like, no, but it's December. But it's no, like, عرفت? And I'm like, we're gonna do this. We're not leaving. I'm the one that drove, and you know. So maybe somebody that listens to this is like, oh, I'm bringing my keys for week 9. But it's different for everyone. I mean, you know, like,
what if
so
someone
we go in the water.
Okay.
We go in the water. And not only that, maybe it's just, you know, a different part of what we do, or, you know, but I try to get them in the water, you know, maybe for, you know, that morning.
Facing their deepest, darkest fears.
Yeah.
What if someone's afraid of spiders? Are you going to show up with
Maybe.
Wow.
I haven't had that, but maybe. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. No wonder people on Instagram are like, this is changing my life. It's not even about fitness anymore. This is like someone facing the biggest obstacle in their life.
Yeah, man. Just to like live a full life.
Wow.
For the سنتين اللي نحن هون فيها. Like, we're here for a few years, God knows when. We've all had friends that just, you know.
Yeah.
Just why are we living not to like the fullest energy and the fullest, it could just optimism and doing what I need to do, just like life.
Yeah.
You know? So that's one part of it. I may have skipped one or like doubled, but
that's
anyway,
fine.
like one of them, we talk about like setting up your morning, and then that will kind of set the tune for your day.
Yeah, that kind of goes into your scheduling.
So yeah, it gets into the scheduling part. Maybe we talk about it like with the psychology, because if you in the morning are right, then your whole day is the high chances it's all going to be right. And if you have one of those mornings and it's like, then your whole day is just going to drag and be that. So we want to, again, basically supercharge in the morning what it is that you need to do. Everybody's different. But usually, you know, the Prophet ﷺ did things between the time of Fajr and Shuruq. So let's do that. Do you like writing? Let's put some of that in writing, some of that adhkar or ad'iyah or whatever in some sort of writing. Do you like to walk? So let's now incorporate the fitness and now your morning thing to do that. Mm-hmm. But usually it's, you know, ruhi, jasadi, fikri. It's got this 3 components of getting your mind right, getting your body right, and then getting, you know, khalas, that spiritual recharge to get your day started. And, you know, you get that and your day, high chances are it's going to be very good. So that's part of it. And then 10 is just the culmination of everything. It's like
a review.
Yeah. Now I'm the student. Tell me everything that I need to know. Basically, repeat this podcast for this last session. This will be like your cheat sheet here. Yeah. This is kind of going over everything. But more specifically, what did you take away from it? How has this helped you? And how has this helped you to help others? And let's now think about, and usually the 10th week is a sunset session. Mm-hmm. And the sunset is symbolic for, hey, it's the end of the day. Let's think about end of life. We're not here forever. And this is where, you know, we get in tears.
Yeah.
It gets us to rethink, you know, about the what after. You know, what are we leaving here after that? You know, are we, you know, intentional about that? Are we doing what we need to do? Are we preparing? So by living as healthy as we could, as best as we could, you know, healthy, positive, good, like embodying the sunnah, and like living just to be, you know, righteous people as best as we could. We all have our challenges. We all have our setbacks. But this is something to think about. And so, you know, I leave them there and I tell them, you know, this is something to think about. And it's sunnah to think about death. Yeah. أكثروا من ذكر هادم اللذات. Wow. Destroyer of pleasures. Keep thinking about it. So once we do that, we, you know, just that sets us. And then I follow up with them, and I don't just like leave them I follow up. And alhamdulillah, the people that I've coached in the last few years, alhamdulillah, none of them, I mean, some of them do gain back the weight, but not, you know, to be anywhere near as where they used to be before, which is, it's a huge blessing.
And then for the sake of time, and I think, Inshallah, we'll have you back on because, I mean, each one of these, obviously, as you said,
I'd love to be
is worth an hour, 2 hours each minimum. You had a 40-day challenge. Someone's listening to this. This all sounds nice. It's all theory, but I have a life and it's tough. And like, what can I do to get started? How do I get going on this?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with having wudu all the time.
Ooh.
what does that have to do with anything that's, fitness and physical? I'll tell you. So this is thing. It's not, again, just fitness as in, just the physical part, but it's got the spiritual and it's got, the mentality dimension of it as well. So spirituality, physicality, mentality. When you're in the state of wudu, you're in a state of spiritual readiness. So my definition of the one that I go by of fitness is readiness. Okay. So fitness is synonymous with readiness. Wudu helps me be in the state of spiritual readiness. Ready for what? Ready for anything. Ready for prayer, ready for just you feeling this, that you're on wudu gets you in a different state. And you'll get to see that, y'all, when you do this for 40 days. It's easy. It's really easy. It's just getting yourself, it's a non-negotiable. You go to the bathroom, make wudu. You're washing your hands anyway.
Yeah.
Wash your face, hands, and khalas. It takes literally 20 seconds more. Do that. And now you feel different. Now, when you don't have wudu, you feel all kinds of like now walking into a place without a mask. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm,
I can vouch for this because of seminary, I'm more like hyper aware of my wudu. And because if I want to engage or listen to the class, whatever you want, I want to be in a state of wudu. Yeah. So you feel it, if like in between, like maybe because I'm at work, I'm in an office space, like I couldn't make wudu in that one moment. Like I don't want to put water over my socks with some guys watching. I'll just do it later. Like you feel like, like I need to go back and make wudu. Like I'm out of it. I feel out of sync. It's a real thing.
Wallahi, your whole state is different. So khalas, now my state is one of, readiness, of purity, of barakah. You're doing
blessings,
the sunnah. So that's the first challenge. 40 days. Try doing that. The second challenge is do some sort of activity, exercise, movement after shuruq. So you wake up
after sunrise.
After sunrise. So get up and get some movement. It could be, and if you want me to go a little bit more specific, do like 10 minutes of a warm up and then 20 minutes of something that's a little bit more higher intensity. But get your exercise during that time. Okay. Try your best. So if you're not exercising, exercise during this time. If you're already exercising, but it's like, no, it's 3 p.m. or 8 before I sleep, don't exercise before you sleep because you're messing up your sleep. And then your whole day, the next day is going to be messed up. Don't exercise in the evening. Just shift it now back to this time. So anyway, like after sunset, after sunrise to like mid-morning, you have a window. It doesn't need to be exactly that time, but you have that window. Try exercising that window. Number 3 is to eat a third less than what you're eating, or like half of what you're usually eating. So if it's a plate that big, so try reducing the plate. If you're with somebody, you're with your wife and you guys are going out, try to
maybe split the meal.
Split the meal in half. So now I got kids, we get 2 plates or 3 plates and the 4 of us can share it. So it's always, we have, in my family, it's everything that we go out and we eat sometimes the burger and the fries, but it's like, okay, Abudi doesn't get the burger and the fries. Riwa doesn't get the burger and the fries. Raya doesn't get burger. Like we're sharing, all of us. Maybe it's usually one order of fries, by the way. So not everybody ever gets the meal, and we never drink soda. Like that's just.
That should be a forever challenge. No sugary drinks.
But it will become a forever challenge after the 40 days because they say it takes 40 days to make a habit. Yeah. Some say 60, some say it's 21. Yeah. But there's this number about 40, Sayyidina Musa with, the 40 nights. And like there's
40 is a number in Islam. Yeah. That's like when a man reaches maturity as well.
Yes. For spiritual maturity. Yeah. So there's a thing about number 40. So after 40 days, you're going to do this. It's automatically going to become a whole life thing. So with the food, just reduce the quantity and try to go for the quality, as we said. So next time it's the weekend, maybe this is a day you do the grocery shopping. Go for the egg. I know it's going to hurt to pay double for the eggs.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah. It's more nutritious and it's it's more filling, and it's just a lot better for you, and you're eating less.
Yeah.
You're eating less calories. Instead of these empty calories, you're actually eating calories that are going to support you for your day. So that's number 3.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Well, just to wrap up the conversation,
Okay.
what is the best way for our listeners to find out more about you and reach you? Do you have social media? Do you have a website?
Yeah.
What's the
website's being built? I don't want to give you the website, but I'll give you the.
if it's built by the time this is released, it'll be in the description.
It will be okay.
Yeah, but is it Instagram? Is that the best way?
Instagram or email. So Instagram is peace power _ so peace power _ at the end.
Okay.
Or the email is FIT peacepower.com. So fit, and there's a reason it has 2 I's in it. It's not because it was unavailable and I just added an I. There's intentional reason why there's fit. And by the way, this whole thing, I call it Fit Life Coaching. So, you got, the coaching side, and then you got like the life coaching, which, like nobody understands life. So you're going to sit there and like life coach somebody. So like, it's kind of, the fit life coaching, and the fit is with 2 I's.
Is that Gmail?
So that's fit, FIIT .peacepower at gmail.com.
You got that?
I'd love to hear from you guys.
And special thing for our listeners. If they hit you up and say, yo, Peace Power, I heard about you on the Prophetic Mentality podcast, they get a free 90-minute session with you. Not an assistant, not an automated script. The man, the legend himself.
Oh man, thank you.
Does that offer still stand, right? You didn't change your mind?
Not the way you described me. Why are they?
The legend.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, well, whatever I could do to help somebody overcome, any fitness challenge. Because I know that, if I help somebody, then inshallah, my hope is that, I get some of that ajr for me when you're going out in the world, when you're just more uplifted and you're just feeling better about yourself and feeling better about life in general.
And we'll limit it to the first 50 people who reach out.
I'm thinking about like the first 5, man.
The first 5?
It's a time commitment for him, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
probably like 10.
You want to limit it to 10?
Yeah.
All right.
That's
because we have tens of viewers.
Or maybe 100 of them call you.
This reach hundreds of thousands of people.
All right. So the first 10 viewers who reach out, inshallah, they will get a free 90-minute session. And inshallah, it'll be very beneficial. Jazakallah khair, Abdul-Rahman, for your time today.
Thank you guys so much.
Peace and power. It's been amazing having you. I am so happy I woke up.
Inshallah, we're gonna have you back. Inshallah, there's too much to. We skimmed over, wallah. So we'll have to have you back. This is the introduction, and then we can get into real details.
Yeah, that was heavy. I really appreciate you guys for doing this. May Allah place abundant barakah in what you guys are doing. Hundreds of thousands of listeners, Ya Rab, because this is something that we need. So
Alhamdulillah.
Until next time, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Peace
and power. This is Amr Mabruk with the Prophetic Mentality podcast. Signing off. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
والعصر الإنسان في خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.